Early accounts are that Faizon Brandon looks the part, and there is another quarterback emerging as a contender to be Tennessee's starting quarterback in 2026. And it might not be who you think it was going to be before the season, or I should say before the spring practice season started. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year-round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, answer the question in the comments below. Who will be Tennessee's Week 1 starter as we are in the throes of spring football? And Tennessee has one of the more thrilling and invigorating quarterback competitions going on right now that they had very much hoped to avoid having. For those of you living underneath that particular rock, Tennessee went from having what it thought was going to be not just its 2025 starter, but perhaps even its 2026 starter in Nico Malyava go up in smoke about 11 months ago. In large part, this has to do with Darian Mensah and his move from Tulane to Duke. And I really enjoy how the dominoes of name, image, and likeness transfer portal have led us to the space where we're talking about a quarterback competition at Tennessee who made the college football playoff a couple of years ago, fell just short of playing in it this last season. So what we have is Darian Mensah played outstanding football at Tulane, but not so great that you thought that he was going to be a surefire Power 5 starter the next year. We were wrong about that. After playing really well at Tulane, he received a market-setting contract from Duke. They went above and beyond to pay him $8 million for 2 years to be quarterback at Duke. That really reset the market because there are quarterbacks that we believe are more talented and more productive than Darian Mensah at the time. One of the folks that thought that this meant that he should receive a raise because someone else got a raise is Nico Malyava. So at a time when it felt like quarterback play was going to get scarce, and during what is the last spring transfer portal window indefinitely for the foreseeable future, Nico Malyava and his camp decided to try to engineer some ransom, if you will, or the threat of not playing at Tennessee if he did not get paid more money than he was going to get paid in 2025. He already had signed a deal that's going to pay him north of $2 million to be quarterback at Tennessee. And given the stats that he put up in 2024, where he was much more of a game manager, and that was really the Dylan Sampson show and the defense that got them to the college football playoff, people were happy to have him and thought, the upside was still there for him. He thought that he should be paid like a Heisman contender, and he wasn't. Rather than pay him more money, Tennessee did what they've been applauded for doing now since, tell him to kick rocks. And in doing so, they essentially engineered a swap with UCLA, who had just signed Joey Aguilar from Appalachian State, and he was going to be the quarterback for Deshaun Foster's UCLA Bruins. Little did we know that ended up being the swap of swaps for Joey Aguilar. He goes from a really bad UCLA football team that he didn't know he was going to be a part of to a really good Tennessee team where he got to sling the ball around and came this close to knocking off Georgia and coming up with one of the bigger regular season wins of the season. Even so, he played great football, and Tennessee enjoyed a good season. We also get to the place now where, looking during the same year, Darian Mensah outplayed his contract, according to some, leading Duke to the ACC championship. They got in there on a squirrely tiebreaker. They end up unseating what we thought was going to be the favorite to win in Virginia. They go 9-5, win a Power 4 championship, don't get to play in the college football playoff. And, oh, by the way, Darian Mensah decides to pull a Nico Malyava, except to say he's not holding Duke ransom. He just won out, and he decided to breach his contract and go to Miami. Somebody's paying the buyout. He gets paid a little bit more to be the new quarterback at Miami. Meanwhile, Tennessee is trying to do what the Ole Miss has succeeded in doing with Trinidad Chambliss, which is engineer another year of eligibility for him. And I should be very clear here. Tennessee did not engineer this, but they're not getting in the way. They were saying to Joey Aguilar, if you can go get another year, just like Trinidad Chambliss, we're not going to turn down anything but our colors. Okay. Well, Chancellor, Judge in Tennessee decided, no. You've exhausted your eligibility. I will not have a 25-year-old playing quarterback at Tennessee. And your argument that you're going to lose money by not playing college football and being forced to try your hand in the NFL doesn't hold water for me. Meanwhile, Trinidad Chambliss has basically argued the merits of a second redshirt year that gets him the eligibility that was thin to begin with. But a judge in Mississippi decided to supersede the NCAA, and another judge on appeal did the same thing. That is going to allow Trinidad Chambliss to circumvent the rule and play SEC football as a guy who's essentially playing a fifth year of college football. Now we get to Tennessee, who has to look at Trinidad Chambliss and Ole Miss pulling this off, yell at SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey about it, even though Sankey supported the NCAA, saying, I don't think Trinidad Chambliss nor Joey Aguilar should get another year. And now he's having to eat this, right? Ole Miss is going to see this thing through. So that has forced Josh Heupel to find a third different starting quarterback in as many years. We're talking about needing to sign Ryan Staub, who started one game at Colorado and serviceable backup at Colorado, trying to grow up George MacIntyre, and having a 5-star and stud, the best quarterback in his class at Faizon Brandon step up. The good news for Vols fans is there is no coach in the SEC that is better equipped to deal with finding out a new starter, getting him on the road to playing right away, and making him good than Josh Heupel. I continue to tell people, Hendon Hooker was damaged goods when he got to Tennessee. Nobody expected that dude coming from Virginia Tech to be any good. And all he did was turn himself into a Heisman Trophy contender and make Tennessee one of the two best teams in college football. He did a similar thing with Joe Milton, who was considered damaged goods from Michigan and could throw a football a million yards, but couldn't throw it accurately. Then Joey Aguilar, Nico Malyava, who really hadn't done anything, still needs development in a passer. You made the scheme so dumb and max protect to try to get him on the good foot. And I think 2024 is Josh Heupel's best coaching season ever, because he's just so limited what he could do offensively, especially when you take into account what Milton and Hendon Hooker could do in that offense. Then he has to turn it over to Joey Aguilar in preseason camp after Zoom meetings of trying to get him on scheme with the offense. And that dude shows out. So now we're at a place where it's George MacIntyre, Faizon Brandon that are separating. Ryan Staub is going to be a serviceable third. There are lots of people that believe that George MacIntyre has earned this opportunity and should. But if Faizon Brandon looks the part to play the part, you go with the younger guy every single time. And you bet on his talent being able to hold him until his acumen steps up. In that way, I think you could be sitting on an SEC newcomer of the year, but still some things to sort out. But Faizon Brandon is the real deal. And for Vols fans, thankfully, so is Josh Heupel.